I was just at home playing the video games when my ghost dog bit my games machine or something, and it zapped me into the video game world. And now I'm stuck, going from game to game trying to complete them or whatever, until I finally find my way back home. So I leap into some guy in a cool outfit. I don't know what it's called, but I've got women with no faces all around me and they won't stop following me. And then suddenly I'm in a city with lots of people around me with no faces, and I'm freaking out a bit. Now I'm in some sort of lab. Apparently I was strapped into something called the Animus, a bit like the Matrix. Apparently I'm a bartender, but ex-assassin, called Desmond. I've been taken hostage by these lab coat peeps to go into their past Matrix thingy. Dr. Labcoat goes on and on about genetic memories, how our DNA has access to the memories of our ancestors, and I'm being used as a way of accessing this information or something. So they put me back into the Anus thing, and I'm cool robe guy again. It turns out past assassin is called Altair, and I have a thing for killing defenceless old men. One of my colleagues has a go at me about it, saying it's not what the creed would allow, but whatevs, I don't really listen. Apparently the Templar, who are our big rivals, have found something, and we want that something. Now, I could go up to this big baddie and take him out all stealthily, but instead I decide to walk up to him in front of everyone. Turns out it was a bad idea, as when I go in for my kill, my idiot companion interferes, and the big baddie makes me look foolish, and then they all get trapped in there. I make my way back home to tell who I can only presume is Santa what happened. He isn't too impressed. Then my colleague Malik, who I presume was dead, but isn't dead, turns up, and he's blaming me, not only because he's badly injured his arm, but also because his brother, who I presumed was dead, is in fact dead. Still, he's managed to get the treasures something that we were seeking. Then those pesky Templars turn up to attack the village, so I go down to help out, showing my lack of sword skills. There's a lot of them, and eventually, the big baddie, Robert, or Robert, turns up. We show them that we're not scared by committing suicide of a high structure. Aha! But it was all an elaborate ruse, as we use the distraction to release a trap. And it works, getting rid of Robert and his army. Santa still isn't too happy though, and gives me a gift of a knife to my stomach. I'm then back as Desmond in the future, or now, or whenever this is. The older scientist lab coat guy gets annoyed with me and demands that I go to sleep. When I wake, he's literally staring at me, so I just hurry up and get back into that Anusmus. I'm the Altair guy again, who apparently didn't die from the stabbing. Or I did, or it was an illusion. Either way, Santa said he's so unhappy with me that he's going to put me on the naughty step and remove my assassin's rank and my weapons. So I have to earn my way back to the Brotherhood. So I have to do a little reconnaissance to gather some info about a potential traitor amongst our people. I do some eavesdropping, some pickpocketing, and then I interrogate the traitor. He said he doesn't care that he betrayed us and he's not afraid to die, which is a good thing because Santa kills him. As a result of my good work, I get my sword and some equipment back, which is nice. I ride to this place called Damascus to visit a bureau, an assassin's bureau, and get some information about my next victim. And I'm told I'm looking to assassinate some guy called Tamir. I go around first gathering info on him, like how he's a weapons tradesman and how regular his bowel movements are, that sort of thing. When I've gathered enough info, I get the go-ahead to assassinate him. So I go to where he's arranging some sort of weapons deal. Now you can say what you want about what I do as an assassin, but this cheeky banana stabs a guy right in front of everyone in broad daylight and no one bats an eyelid. Anyway, I assassinate him and then me and him spend his last intimate moments together. Still, he kills someone in broad daylight and it's okay apparently, but I do it and everyone wants their sword to have a word with me. Soon I'm back as Desmond in boring sci-fi world and I find out there's a deadline and I'm the research project. So seeing as the girl kidnapper, who I find out is called Lucy, won't give me any details or anything else, I just go to bed. I wake up and it's assassin time again. After a bit where the scientist guy starts going on and on about how the world needs order. Look, just get Uber Eats or something if you want to order something that badly. After seeing Santa, he tells me I've been a good boy and gives me another piece of my equipment back. I ride off to Jerusalem and my next target is a slave trader called Talal. I focus on getting the info I need on my target, which includes beating up and interrogating whom I can only assume is Jesus, whilst another guy tries to get past but just can't. After I get the info I need, I stab Jesus, and some people nearby pretend they didn't see anything. I go to the bureau to get the permission I need to do the assassination, and it's great to see Malik again, even though he's lost an arm. He should give himself a clap for getting a new job. When I go to my target, I soon realise it's a trap once I'm caught in the trap. A whole bunch of guards try to take me out, but I'm not interested in their advances, and so after I kill them, I chase Talal through the streets and assassinate him in public. We have a nice death conversation, and I make a run for it from the local guards, but manage to hide amongst these praying boys. After a quick visit to Santa, I find out my next target is some sick doctor in Acre. Just to clarify, he's not ill, he's just a messed up quack who does messed up experiments on his patients. I'll decide I'll strike him when he's making his rounds in the hospital. At least when he's dead from my blade, he won't be far from the other doctors who can help. I get to the hospital and I see a patient running away, claiming the doctor is insane. The doctor protests, claiming his innocence, and demonstrates further how pure his motives are by having some guards break both the patient's legs. I completely mess up the assassination and so end up getting in a fight with not only the doctor, but also the guards. The doctor has a sword, as all good doctors should, and proves that a scalpel isn't the only blade he can handle, but he doesn't handle my blade in his neck so well. As he dies, we have a nice chat about how he thinks he's doing a good thing, but then again, so did Hitler. I'm back as Desmond and it turns out someone has been in my room, but I don't think it's Deliveroo. After a sleep, old lab coat guy is in a good mood, because he says they've made some adjustments so I can be in the anal mist longer. Santa tells me I've now completed 3 of 9 targets, so there's still a long way to go. And next I'm after the Merchant King apparently. After doing some pickpocketing and beating up Jesus, I get the details of where and when I can take action. Assassin action. Apparently the Merchant King is due to have a feast, and I'm happy to drop by dropping my blade into his neck. But when I get to the feast, it turns out the Merchant King has done in his guests by poisoning them. They were happy to drink his wine, so they shouldn't whine when that wine leads to the end of the line for them. Anyway, Fat Boy tries to run from me and he's surprisingly fast, but I catch up and assassinate him. He talks that I will soon see a new world, but he won't, as I wipe his blood on a feather, take it back to the bureau, tell Santa and move on to my next target. My next target is Majid Adin, and after doing some of the usual info gathering, I find out he's due to perform an execution today. When I get there, Majid makes his arrival like a celebrity. There's a couple of protesters who use their freedom of speech to detail their issues with the public execution process, which is responded with guards showcasing their freedom to publicly execute them. A whole bunch of guards are kind enough to stand aside as I focus on taking out Majid. Great job, boys. He tells me how he enjoyed killing as it made him feel powerful, as I enjoy killing him and making him powerless. Anyway, I'm off to the bureau after fighting the goons who tried to stop me from doing the public murders, and during this time I decide I like using a dagger now. One guard sees how good I am with it and tries to run away, so I throw a knife into his back. I visit Santa, and after I complain a bit, he tells me that I'm assassinating Templars who are all evil and stuff. I try not to burdensome myself with politics and decide to continue doing the murders as I'm told to. I do my thing, collecting info about my next target, who is called William, apparently. As I'm doing this, a woman won't leave me alone. She's begging me for money, saying how her family are starving, and so I help her out by killing her. At least now her family have one less person to feed. If that's not compassion, I don't know what is. Then, as has become commonplace, I mess up William's execution and get into a fight with all of his guards, as well as him. Still, I manage to take out William in front of them all and get to hold him in my arms as we chat, and he tells me why he's a good guy as he dies. After going back to the bureau, I'm Desmond again. Lab coat guy gets a call and says how the assassins are coming to rescue me, but I don't really care and I just go to bed. I wake up, go back into the Anasus, and it's not long before I'm Altair again with Santa, who's telling me that the treasure we have is a piece of Eden and it has considerable power. So of course we don't want the evil Templars getting hold of it because they'll use it for the evils. So it's up to me to continue assassinating them. Now I'm after Sabrand or something like that. And as I gather info, another beggar just won't leave me alone. She tells me how she's hungry and sick. I know what you're thinking, but I do actually help cure her sickness. She's not sick anymore because she's dead. As I make my way to the docks to get some info, some guy pushes me. So I retaliate by pushing him back into the sea, and he drowns. I think to myself, what an idiot, he can't even swim. Good thing I can swim. Turns out though, Altair can't, so I can't. Really helpful. I get to Sir Bran and he's claiming a man of cloth is an assassin. I don't know about a cloth man assassinating him, but I'll give it a go. Sir Bran claims that if he truly is a man of God, then God will stop him from striking his blade on the fool. As expected, God doesn't intervene. Well, if that's not proof, I don't know what is. On my way to kill Sir Bran, I throw a knife at one guard, and then this Wally kills himself out of fear. I don't know if that counts as a kill or not. I manage not to rock the boat whilst I'll kill Sir Bran on a boat, with my most smooth sailing assassination yet. I approach from the rear, or should I say stern, as I take him from the rear, something he doesn't enjoy too much, mainly because he's now dead. He tells me it's not the consequences of his actions or God that he fears, but the fact that nothing awaits. But the fear doesn't have to last long, because nothing is coming except for his death. My next target is Joubert, who is purging the city of knowledge, the original way to misinform people before social media. One of Joubert's comrades speaks up on behalf of the knowledge that can be gained from books, and Joubert realises you should never judge a book by its cover, and throws him on the fire too. I show him knowledge by jumping from a ledge, and as I jump down from the skies, I stop him spreading the lies, and as he lies in my hands, he dies, and we close the chapter on that book. Soon I'm back as Desmond. I hear the lab coat guy talking to someone else about me, but I don't see who it is. Lucy Labcoat tells me we need to stop the Labcoat doc and everything they're doing. And on that note, I go to bed. When I wake up, the doc is keen for me to get back in the Animus. And when I'm back in the Animate, Santa tells me I'm off to get my final target. Finally, I will get to finish off Robert. And then the Templars will be finished off too. I'll finish off everyone. Off I go to Jerusalem, where of course I'd get into a fight with Jesus again. He gives me the info I need and I kill him again. He doesn't stop resurrecting this guy. I also do some pickpocketing and some eavesdropping, and then I stop by the bureau, and I apologise to Malik, the one-armed assassin, for what happened. He doesn't accept my apology, mainly because he says I'm not the same person, which isn't really true, but is also true, but whatevs, my conscience is clear. Robert is at the funeral of Majid, one of my victims from earlier on, so I'm going to kill the guy, mourning the guy that I killed. Whilst I end up having to fight a million of Robert's guards, I managed to kill them all dead. Then I turn my attention to Robert, who seems to have glitched out a bit, so I end up taking advantage. I defeat Robert, who turns out not to be Robert, and I don't know who it is, but like a gentleman, I end up letting them go, and I return to the bureau. I pretend I understand what's going on, and it's something like that Robert is trying to unite Christians and Muslims against the assassins, before double-crossing Richard the Lionheart and taking over the Holy Land with the Templars. So I travel to end Robert and his stupid plan, but end up having to face off against a whole bunch of stupid soldiers with swords just to get to him. When I do, I spend time trying to convince Richard the Lionheart of the truth, not to trust Robert, as he's a very naughty boy. Like an idiot, Richard says he'll let God decide via a fight to the death, which means it's not really God choosing, is it? Of course, Robert is a coward and cheats by getting me to fight a bunch of his soldiers first. It doesn't take me too long to kill them, and even less time to kill him. Robert gives me his dying speech about how Santa betrayed me. He says that Santa used to be a Templar and used the assassins to get them to kill Templars that knew the truth about this magic Eden treasure thing, because he wanted to keep it to himself. Bad Santa. I'm back as Desmond, and apparently my assassin friends are outside trying to save me, until I find out they've all been killed. Which means it was a pretty rubbish rescue attempt, to be honest. The assassins have been assassinated. With that, I go to bed and get a good night's sleep. In the morning I wake up and the doctor really wants me to hurry up, get into the Anisus and finish off the research. So I'm back as Altair, and an informant tells me that everyone is walking a path to the light. I have no idea what that means, but Bad Santa is sending people to kill me. It's pretty relentless, and although I'm doing the kills, I'm lucky when Malik arrives to lend a hand. He would lend two, but he's only got one. I make my way to Bad Santa whilst touching up as many people as I can, and when I finally get to him, I'm suddenly impacted by a golden light, as Bad Santa seems to be using some kind of magic. He claims he's found the truth, that nothing is true, and then it's a bit confusing whether that's true or not. Then I'm suddenly in a face-off against everyone that I assassinated, and it's deja vu as I assassinate them again. Bad Santa then magic clones himself. I tried to use my special sight thingy to recognise which is the true Bad Santa, but they all keep poking me with their swords, so I end up just fighting them all. Bad Santa tells me that the peace of Eden is nothing but an illusion, and then denounces all religion by saying that every miracle that's ever occurred, like the parting of the sea, has been nothing but an illusion. Of course, Bad Santa wants to use this treasure for ultimate power, brainwashing everyone into peace. Whilst it would probably work, I'm not convinced it's true peace, so I help him to rest in peace by killing him. Instead of destroying the peace of Eden to stop any other silly sausage using it for evil, I just stare at it. I can't destroy it, it looks too pretty. Suddenly I'm back as Desmond. An older lab coat guy seems to suggest that it's a map. He's talking to some mystery people and they suggest killing me. But I'm lucky when Lucy suggests keeping hold of me, just in case, until I'm no longer needed or whatever. I'm lucky they agree, and soon after they leave, it appears as though I have the special sight thing. I notice some strange writing over the walls. Pretty sure they're all part of the Templars. But just as I have that thought, I'm suddenly transported out of Desmond's body. I wonder where I'm going next. Oh boy.
Bark. Bark. Come on. Bark. Bark. I've been barking 5 minutes straight here. Bark. Bark, bark. This guy, he has to be awake. Come on. Bark. Bark, bark. Nothing. Nothing. All right. Yeah, well, I'll just go closer and do barks. More barks. Right then. How you gonna like this? How you like this? Bark. Bark, bark, bark by your face. Bark.
Whoa.
Right here. Bark, bark. You know what? Bark, bark. Bark. I'm getting bark.
Would you want a wee?
No, it's always that with you. I don't want to wee. I always, well, I already did it over on your shoes. They look dry to me. They always look so dry. I got to do that on them. So, sorry. It's every morning. If you don't, look, if you haven't noticed, that's why they're wet all the time. Oh, bark, bark, by the way. Bark, bark. Wait, no, I'm not going out. Are you kidding me? That's cold out there.
I thought you wanted to go for a wee.
Why don't you move somewhere warm? I'll go out then. Bark, bark. Bark.
What is it, boy?
Bark, bark.
Someone at the door?
Yeah, there's no, there's no one. There's no one at the door. Bark, bark. I like to fuck with him. Bark, bark. It's good being a dog. And look at that, the switcheroo. Oh, yeah, I love this. This alpha male right here, alpha. I get the dominance achieved by being, because I'm in the spot that makes it, that I'm gonna even leave the little stain. I can't help. I cannot help leaving a little stain wherever I sit. Yeah, I'm a dog. I don't toilet paper. What's toilet paper?
Want to go for a walk?
Oh, yeah, bark. Yeah, bark, bark. I'm definitely go on a walk. I love when you walk with the leash. I love that.
Come on.
I'm going, yeah. Let's bark this. Definitely. And he's not going to be too happy when he sees that I pooped. Because the shoes, I was already there for making them with the wee. So, if you're already at the shoes, you might as well do them both. Because, what is even the point of not doing it? Is sometimes what I think. Bark,